So one of the compliments I get a lot about my guitar playing is the vibrato that I use, and I learned it from Stevie Vaughan and Eric Clapton watching their videos. For those that don't know, a vibrato is a pulsating um, sensation of pitch. The pitch is pulsating. So what that looks like on the guitar is that's that Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan type vibrato. When I first started playing guitar, I learned vibrato like most everybody does, which is really using your thumb and using like all the activation comes from you rigidly shaking your wrist. And you really don't get much out of it, you know what I'm saying? It's really kind of stiff and it's not as wild and crazy as. And I believe this type of vibrato really helps your guitar to sing, and it kind of gives it that voice like quality, especially when you have a little bit of overdrive or distortion, you're playing a solo. You can get really, really crazy with that. So, the best way I can describe it is if you take a note, we'll take the ninth fret of the G string, and you want to have your hand kind of like this, not crooked, nothing like that. You want to have it straight up and down. And it's a weird feeling, but your thumb is going to be off the neck. So if typically it was on the neck like this, it would be off the neck, right? So when you're playing, you're going to hit the note and your forearm is going to be locked. It's going to be rigid. Your wrist's going to be rigid. Everything's going to be rigid. It's going to be tense. When I first started learning this, I didn't realize how much muscle was involved, but you're going to initially feel it up here, like in your bicep area and your elbow, and it's going to be uncomfortable for a little while. But the more you do it, it literally goes away and you don't think about it. So, start out that locked position, and when you start to play the note, gradually move your arm up and down while holding that note still. And you'll feel the neck slapping against the palm of your hand. That's the feeling that you need to associate in your mind as having good vibrato. You're going to feel that. You're going to feel that tapping against your palm. First start out slow. And when you first start out, it may not sound like anything. It may be like, because you haven't developed that muscle yet, that connection. But I promise, if you stick with it and you practice every day, you'll get to the point to where it'll become second nature and you won't have to think about it so much. Another way to really help with this is kind of flex, like get your arm flexed. See, I'm flexing and my hand's switching. So really, really flex. When you grab that note, keep your arm tense and squeeze. And if you can hear that, it's getting crazy. And I would do that up and down the neck when I first started learning it. Every string. Now what you find is on the low E string and sometimes on the A string, you're going to have to consciously pull down, because if I went up, the string would come off the neck. So this works really, really well on the bottom four strings. And you can use all your fingers. I would suggest starting out with your ring finger first, and then your middle, because those, at least for me, were the easiest to start out with, and then move to your index. And then once you get the technique down, you know what it sounds like, you know what it feels like, throw that pinky in there. You could even do a 4-note exercise like that, you know, using each finger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then move up. So, you know, 1, 2, 3. See, on the A string, I've had to change and consciously say, okay, now I need to focus more down. So, anyways, y'all, that was a quick little tutorial on how to do that. It's really, it's all in the arm. It's all in the, you know, the squeezing of the arm, the tense feeling that you get in your arm, and then, and after a while, like I'm really loose right now. Like relax. I don't have to really think about it. I'm not tense at all. You know, I've done this enough to where I don't have to, you know, use so much force. And eventually you'll get to that point too. So what that looks like is essentially you take that note. So we'll say that 9th fret. You grab it and see how my hand is, you know, my thumb isn't really against it. And you know, it looks kind of funny, but that's really what I'm doing. And when you're starting out, you may get a little, you know, string noise from the other strings being hit by your finger. But if you know anything about muting and stuff, then just mute the other strings and go to take care of it. But that's what it looks like. And see, my hand isn't really touching the neck at all. So, yeah. So, anyways, y'all. There's that lesson on that Stevie Ray Vaughan type of vibrato. Peace.